Manchester United have a total agreement with Ajax and with Lisandro Martinez. He will be a Manchester United player. Personal terms have been agreed upon for some time now, but the deal is being formalized. The deal will be announced. Arsenal have pulled away. They fought valiantly. They tried to get the player. But I just think the overall package from Man United, including him being played in his preferred position, has really rung through. Of course, the Ten Hag connection was always seen as a big push. We're going to delve into this in more detail. Take a look at another day of crazy news surrounding Frenkie de Jong. On top of that, some Chelsea, Arsenal updates coming for you as well. We're taking your calls live on the air. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace. But Lisandro Martinez is red. Welcome back to the Terrace. An interesting and exciting afternoon for Manchester United fans. The third signing of the season where there is a total agreement in place. I know fans really want the announcements. I know fans really want to see the shirt being held before they fully relax. But Lisandro Martinez signs for Manchester United. He agrees the deal in its entirety. It will complete, barring a catastrophic turn of events. Barring an absolute meltdown of the situation. He is a Manchester United player. Done deal between the clubs. Personal terms agreed. Total agreement and all together. We're going to delve in and look at the player in more detail on this show. We're also going to update on some of the other transfers and stories that are circulating. We won't ignore them. We also want to take your calls as well. They're very important to us. We want to hear from you. David here says, by the way, if we hit 1,250 likes, we're going to give away some more free memberships live on the show. Member chat coming later. So get that like button smashed for us right about now, my people. David here says 46 million is fair for both clubs, not extortionate, good age and familiar to the style our club needs, and a poke in the eye to Arsenal, who must be annoyed, even just a bit. Next, please. Yeah, 46 million pounds. We have a poll running on that right now. Is that too much? Is that a sensible amount of money? Year one, by the way, 9 million pounds this deal will cost. United have got a payment structure in place. They'll pay it over a 5-year period, around just under 9.5 million pounds year one. This player will cost Manchester United. Someone here with a great comment. This guy takes himself too seriously. You ain't been watching the channel enough, bruv. Man sits there doing shots for super chats. That's how serious I take myself. Listen, I've said this before about there isn't a fan channel in the world that is a media outlet. There isn't a fan channel in the world that is not a fan channel. None of us take ourselves too seriously, like we're trying to become the next Ornstein or we're trying to become the next Henry Winter. That isn't what we do, my friend. If my speech sounds like that a little bit, I apologize. I don't want to come across that way, but I'm just saying, no, I don't. I hope we can get him to join the rest of the lads for pre-season. Well, that will be the hope, actually. You know, that's now what Manchester United will look to do, get this closed up. It's thought that Eriksen will be at some point there talks about him maybe getting out there for the Australia element. Maybe we'll get Lisandro out there as well. That will really get the juices of Manchester United fans flowing massively. Koulibaly will travel to LA tonight. I mean, we did a show very early this morning, about 7:30. That deal was done today already. That deal was over the line. I'm not surprised. He's on his way. Brilliant capture for Chelsea Football Club. No doubt about it. Fantastic business for them. Good Ten Hag signing, as it's what he wanted. Look, it's a brilliant signing. And I was raving about this guy when Arsenal were linked with him. I'm going to rave about him now that Man United have secured his signature. Lisandro Martinez is a top-class ball-playing centre-back. But to break that down, this guy, he wins 70% of his duels. You know, he wins nearly 70% of his ground duels. The geezer wins 71% of his aerial contests. He is an absolute colossus of a defender. But what he also has is great positioning. He's excellent on the ball. He can play out from the back. He gives Man United everything they need. And at half the price of Harry Maguire, it's a very, very good deal. Now, both Man United and Arsenal, in my opinion, would have got this player cheaper if we weren't fighting it out. Man United getting involved made Arsenal bid more, United bid more, Arsenal beat their bid, United bid again. Ajax got what they wanted out of this. If Arsenal were not interested, or vice versa, this player probably would have cost about 35 million. So there's been an extra 10, 11 million pound premium added onto the top of the player because of the bidding war. But I think Man United fans will accept that, and they won't be overly worried about that happening. Sharek here says Lissandro would rather play next to Maguire rather than Ben White and Gabriel. Banter FC is what Sharek has got to say there. Stats between the Dutch and Premier League mean nothing. Look, what's really interesting is that his statistics internationally also stack up pretty damn good as well. And of course, people will always try and look at the negative on this from a Man United point of view. Yeah, but what about this? What about the other? You could label that against any player coming into the Premier League this year who isn't coming from, unless they're coming from a league that you consider to be on par with the Prem or superior. You know, I don't know who Big GZ supports, but it's like I've seen people do it to Fabio Vieira. They're their Portuguese league stats. What does that mean in reality? It means that's how good he is there. It's whether you think the player can translate it to the Premier League. The defending is defending, the goals are goals. It's can that player's style translate to the Premier League? And if you think Ten Hag's style can translate, then the players that fit that system potentially can. But of course, there's always the risk that a deal doesn't work out. Leave it, Terry. They are forcing it. Yeah, I like to cover both angles. I do. I never like to just work on one end and put out just one type thing. Isn't he 5'9", still short? But with Varane, it's not a big issue. Quality over quantity. I mean, his height's been focused on a lot by a number of people. Ten Hag isn't worried. So right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be shameless. I ain't worried either. If he isn't worried, I ain't worried. Can't be. You know, the manager knows what it is that he's doing, in my opinion. Will he get everything right? No. But I think he's on his way to a winner with this one. Mohammed Nasir, one of our members here with a comment, says, do you think De Jong will happen, Terry? I am still optimistic. And we'll get onto De Jong a little bit later. Any questions you've got, send them in. We'll do them later on, another point in the show. What is the poll, Sam, right now? So 45% of you think he's definitely worth 46 million every penny. 35% say just about. 21% saying not a chance. So just under 80%, 79% think he is worth this money. We've also got that same poll running right now on Twitter. And on Twitter, the vote is currently sitting at about the same, actually. It's 78% think that he is, think he's worth that kind of money. I think it's in and about, probably wouldn't want to pay any more. Because I do take that previous person's comment seriously. He hasn't done it yet in one of the top 3, top 4 leagues. So there's still that question mark. He's doing it internationally. He's done it in the Champions League. The consistency over a domestic league campaign, there is still a question over that. I think if he was performing at this level and he was doing it in La Liga, if he was doing this in Italy, I think you're probably looking at, but everything else was the same, looked the same, sounds the same, performs the same. You're probably looking at a 65 to 75 million pounds player. The premium would potentially be higher. In my opinion. This is a really good question. Terry, who should Manchester United focus on next? Well, I think that leads in very, very nicely to the situation with, I think that leads very, very nicely into the situation with Frankie de Jong. Because, of course, the contrary in reports today, the reports are mad. Like, the reports are legitimately mad in terms of what is coming out into the ether today. You've seen he's refusing to. We've had a lot of he's refusing to leave and refusing to take a pay cut. We need more answers on that. We need more questions by the informed tier 1 journalists. Well, what are the ramifications of him staying without a pay cut? And what I mean by that is there a thought at Barca that he will be disciplined, punished? Will there be a breakdown of relationships? Will the club try and turn the fans against him? I'm using that as an example. Or is the thought they're going to play him, there'll be no problems, no one's going to hold it against him, all is fair in love and war? The reaction Barca will have to him staying and not taking a pay cut, as in their feeling towards it, dictates how I feel about the situation. I have to be honest with you, that is what dictates it. The information is what's key. You know, as I spoke to a lot of people about earlier on, I spoke to a few people about this earlier on today. Many top-level journalists have said that the player is open to joining Manchester United, or have tweeted or put out messages that he's agreed terms, or the terms are favourable to him. You know, the salary's been agreed. So that makes me believe there's an element of truth there. We all know he doesn't want to directly leave. We know that he'd prefer to stay at Barcelona. If they say you can stay, there's no problems, and you maintain that money, then this all ends and it all stops. But that hasn't been reported on yet. But equally, there are other reports today that have come out stating that his goodbyes are imminent. So it's still very conflicting. It's still very, very up in the air, which is why I remain hopeful as a Man United fan. But to your question and to your point, what should Man United do now? For me, they have to start seriously talking to alternatives other than Frankie de Jong. They have to start doing that. That would be, I've had no qualm, no problem, no issue with Manchester United chasing him throughout the entirety of the summer. Why would you? Top class player. Why would you? One of the best midfielders in the world. Why would you? Barca are trying to get rid of him. Simple as that. They're trying to get rid of him. So you have to work on it. But there comes a point, and I think that point is coming soon. Whether there's an official deadline or an unwritten deadline, United have to imply one and go, right, Youri Tielemans, Ruben Neves, to name just two. You obviously got the likes of Sagaria that are available, that have been linked to Man United. United have to go into the market and look at somebody else. They cannot, in my opinion, or shouldn't hold out until deadline day. Because if you may not get anybody. And if we don't sign a new midfield player, that for me will hamper the progression over the course of this season. It's an imperative position that's needed now, especially to build this system around the midfield engine for a Ten Hag system is absolutely key. So I think that's what the club needs to do, almost issue a little bit of an ultimatum and say, look, we understand you don't have a desire to leave and you won't take a pay cut, but what is the solution here? How can we get, what can we do to rectify this? There's still no guarantee. That's what they need to do. Set a deadline date with Barca and the player and say, look, if we don't get whatever the result is by this date, we will have to move on to other people. I think that's what's going to be sensible from Manchester United. There's no doubt about it. But they need to move on. They need to start stocking elsewhere. They now also need to start looking at the attacking options at the club as well. Because as we know, we're still none the wiser as to whether or not Ronaldo is going to remain at the football club or whether he will move on. So something really needs to be done within these areas to motor things forward. A lot of people saying, the Sterling announcement is finally here. I mean, Sterling's been done for about 2 weeks. I know everyone loves the announcements. People sometimes wonder for me. They're like, have you seen the news? I'm like, yeah, I don't really think too much of it. And not because I've got issues with it, but just because it's like, it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. But it is the picture for you all here, as we'll put it up on the screen so you can see it, because I know a lot of you really, really care about seeing Sterling in the kit. There you can see Raheem Sterling in the Chelsea kit. He's looking good. I actually quite like Chelsea's kit this year. Chelsea's kit this season is excellent. It really is. I think it's a very, very good kit. Indeed. I think they've done quite well there with that design. So he's over the line now. Chelsea have already moved on to other targets and already working on new deals. So, yes, lots going on at Chelsea right now. Koulibaly flying out on his way to... Listen, them 2 deals. I know a lot of people want to have a pop at Chelsea, but legitimately, Raheem Sterling and Koulibaly for a combined, 80 million or so million pounds? Like, that's some of the best business you're going to see this summer without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Terry, 5K to charity. Like I said, if there's proof that he has point blank refused Man United and has never been interested, And the articles from Jamie Jackson, Simon McBell, ESPN, the Telegraph are all untrue, that he wasn't willing to join, hadn't discussed terms. If all of that is debunked, I'll give the money, like I said. And that hasn't been. Even Ben Jacobs today, read Ben Jacobs' words. He hasn't been fully convinced to leave yet. And what we also have to get through is what Simon Stone has said. If this 17 million that's owed to the player, 70 million euros that's owed to the player is resolved, then it's about whether or not Man United can convince him to come or not. Because he won't leave until that's resolved. If he's told he isn't getting that 17 million pounds, he's staying. That's the hold up here. So again, my friend, if we get past that 17 million, Man United go, right, we'll pay the 70 million euros wages to you. Do you want to join us now? Barca want you gone. And he says no. Then we'll look at it. We've got to get to that point first. Simple as that. Terry sweating on the 5K. I'm not actually. I give around about that a year away to charity anyway. So that's a bet, but it's just doing it in one lump sum. So it is what it is. So it's not an issue for me, really. I give about that away to charity per year. I used to do this thing when I worked for Barclays Bank. They had this really good system at the bank where whatever you donated to, if you were an employee there, whatever you donated to charity, up to £5,000 a year, they would match. It's really good. So when I moved into more senior roles, I gave to a number of charities. I gave about £2,000 a year or so to. I had a dog charity. The dog charity actually was training dogs to look after disabled people. And there was a cancer charity and there was a children's charity. So I gave £2,000 a year for my salary, but Barclays matched it and they doubled it, which was really good. So yeah, I've always given a fair amount. And as I've got older and done better in life, I've upped that. I just don't tend to talk about it. Do you know why? Because it's a bit weird, but yeah, I'm not sweating about it. It's really no stress. It's really no stress. Anyway, so yeah, Man United need to move on to other targets at some point, as we were already saying. The attack, the midfield, very, very key indeed. The only thing Terry sweats over is the weather. Yeah, it is warm, and this room is a sauna. Make sure that like button is being smashed, people. Lisandro Martinez is a Manchester United player. 1,250 likes. We're giving away free memberships on the Football Terrace for the member section only later. So make sure you are smashing the like button. Prime here says, unfortunate situation for Frankie. He's in a dilemma, in a predicament. No fault of his or Man United's. Barca is the reason for this hold up. Hope that helps the trolls. Look, I'm very intrigued to see what happens if there's a resolution around that salary. That's what I'm really key on. By the way, Frankie and his people are never going to mention yet that the salary is a hold up, because then you don't get the support from the Barca fans thinking you're there for love. Listen, but I bet he does love Barca, but he doesn't love them enough to say no to 70 million euros. He wants his money, and I think that's absolutely fair of him. Too many credible journalists have reported on that. And until they say it's not about the money, until they all say it's not about the money, he's going to stay irrespective, then I'll eat my hat, like I've said all along. Until then, but we move. Got some super chats here. Love the super chats, people. Height doesn't mean anything. Look at Silva at Chelsea. He's a little bit taller, I think. Is he about 5'10", 5'11"? But I hear you on that. So where is the here we go from Romano? I mean this with respect, because I love Fabrizio Romano, but the world doesn't need a here we go from Romano. As yesterday, Fabrice Hawkins broke the news in every intricate detail about Koulibaly to Chelsea. I tweeted and shared it. Every reply was, Ornstein, is this true? Fabrizio, is this true? Turned out to be. I know people like, I like when they do it because it kind of cements it, but this is done. It is done. Bet your bottom dollar. Would you consider, the irony in it is, it was Fabrizio that said there's a done deal between Man United and Barca for De Jong, and people banter me again, why did you say it was a done deal? People pick and choose when they want to believe people, but that's it. Would you consider forgetting De Jong and going for Tielemans, since Tielemans is Prem proven? Why do we need De Jong? He's clearly said he doesn't want to move. I think we've kind of already spoke on that, but I would say this. I am still not convinced that he wouldn't want to join Manchester United, or he wouldn't be happy to join Manchester United. I don't believe that. I think that if the resolution over the wages gets resolved, as I've said, and he still says no, because that's been the financial situation has been holding this up for 4 weeks. I've still got faith. And if my faith is misplaced, you'll know me well enough, man. I'll hold my hands up and say, got it wrong. I don't believe that we would still be pushing if the player had said no to Erik Ten Hag. Ten Hag would have said, let's move on. He's not a stupid man, in my opinion. Now, that could end up biting me in the backside. I don't think he's a stupid enough man. However, to your actual question, 110%, I would not be adverse to signing Youri Tielemans. 110%. I mean, listen, for the money that we're looking to pay for De Jong, you could quite literally get Tielemans and Ruben Neves. And we've seen before with other managers, with other clubs where we've seen situations where they haven't got their number one target, they've moved on to other people, and it's worked out quite well. So I'm a bit like, I'm open to it. To your super chat, I'm 110% open to Manchester United being able to doing that. I really am. I'm open to doing it. Terry, have you seen what's been happening in Sri Lanka? No, I haven't seen. I'll take a little look later, but no, I personally haven't been looking at what's been going on in Sri Lanka. So I'll take a look at that another time. But thank you for the super chat, Jin. Chelsea are in contact with Kimpembe. How dangerous would the defense be with Koulibaly, Ake, Kimpembe? Please tell us, what do you think? By the way, love your shows. Listen, my guy, my G, thank you for super chatting first and foremost. Let me just say this now about Chelsea Football Club. And let me just say this, and I'll say it with chest. I don't like to be rude about people, but the idiots that were writing Chelsea off. And this is what I mean. This is why, like, banter's fun, but some people take banter and they start believing it like it's real. They do. That as a defense, on paper, actually, no, I'm going to say this with chest. On paper, with Tuchel as the manager who has built brilliant defensive structures before, you could be looking at the best defense in the league. Could be looking at the best defense in the league. If he gets them to work and click together, that could be out of this world. Brilliant positioning, speed, athleticism, great groundwork, good on the ball, powerful in the air, legit, sensational. Ayo, Terry, is De Jong close? Very close. It's believed that if the final hurdle is sorted out, which is the salary situation is resolved, the deal is close to its conclusion. He will either stay with a pay cut or he'll leave. That's what's still being reported. Until that changes from the big credible sources, I won't change my mind. If Ornstein comes out tonight and says it's over, then I'll say it's over. But I can't until that point, my G. Big up Terry, Sterling and Koulibaly. We are back. I'd say this, mate. I don't think you were ever gone. My friend. I don't think you were ever gone. Barca owe more money than the British government. Yeah, they do, but they've got a lot of money coming in. They're going to be all right, mate. They're going to be all right money-wise. They are. De Jong has been close forever, but it has. It's been at this stage we're at now has not really changed for 3 to 4 weeks. It's the money situation holding it up. I don't know how many times that needs to be reiterated. It's the same situation. Of course, we report on when new things are breaking, but the message we give has been very clear every single time. United have got a good chance of signing him. The player is open to joining Manchester United. He'd prefer to stay at Barca, but they're asking him to take a pay cut. The money situation has not been resolved. I don't know. It's not even like banter. It just is how it is. Someone did say to me the other day, actually, have there been any credible sources who have said that he's open to joining Manchester United? And I was kind of like, okay, I'll have to go and find them. So I did go and find them today. As you can see here. So, I mean, there's quite a few. You had the Times newspaper. De Jong is open to joining. You've got ESPN that the player is open to the transfer. You had Sammy McBell, Man United open talks over a move, who is fully open to joining if Barca and that can agree a fee. So there's been a few, like I said before to people, there's been a few journalists that have said this. So yeah, it's not been made up by randomers online. I can assure I can assure you of that. But there we go. But I want your opinions on Lisandro Martinez, Manchester United player. Manchester United player. And interestingly here, there's another update just come from De Jong, from the Muppeteers. Sources around United continue to indicate that the club firmly believe De Jong is willing to join United. There we go. I mean, that's the Muppeteers. Some people like them, some people don't. I think they're cool. But Lisandro Martin is easy, really 5'7". They're taking I love it. Do you know what I love about being a Manchester United fan? People are taking inches off the height of Lisandro, bruv. They're taking inches off of his height. I love this game. This game is amazing. Legitimately. You're the best. You're the best. That's actually one of the best comments I've seen, if I'm being honest. That's one of the best comments about this situation that I've seen. Absolutely brilliant. Bear with me a second here. I've just got to put a tweet out. Absolutely sensational. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings here. If you saying Arsenal are in the mud. Short Merchant. There we go. Oh, he's 5'6". He's 5'6". He's 5'6" now. He's been announced as 5'6". He's even shorter than we originally believed of Lisandro. He's even shorter. But there we go. We're going to open up the lines very, very soon for you to have your say. We are almost halfway to our target of likes on the show, people. Those free memberships will be on their way to you very, very soon indeed. It's all down to you guys, though, smashing that like button. That's on you, my people. Get that done or forever hold your peace. Prime, I absolutely dismantled the rivals above. Will do that frequently. Hang on. Claudio, he's 5'2". He's 5'2" now. Lisandro Martinez, 5'2". That is what he's being described as. 5'2". I love this game. My question is this, though. What do people think Arsenal are going to do next? They've spoke about, obviously, Lisandro being played as he was wanted to be, an inverted fullback, which is fair enough. He wasn't going to be a centre-back, a lot of them say and feel and think and believe. So he's now going to be used as, so they're now going to go for a left-back. The interesting thing about Grimaldo is that Grimaldo isn't an inverted fullback. He doesn't play there. He plays as a traditional fullback. He hugs the touchline. You only got to look at his where he plays and the positions that he's picked up. So do you guys think there will be a change in approach now from Arsenal? Will they go for a different type? Will they go for another centre-back as well? Will it just be Grimaldo and be cover at that left-back position? Of course, there's a big difference in the profile, the style of play, the ability on the ball, the defensive attributes and whatnot of Grimaldo and Lisandro Martinez. They're a completely different profile of players. So what does this say? What do Arsenal fans think and feel will be the next step for your football club? And how good is Lisandro Martinez? I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. I want your comments right now in the comment section below. How good is he? We're going to open up the lines now, though. The call-in link we're going to put into the live comment section below for you guys to read, for you guys to go through, for you guys to have a little think and a feel about. I'm going to pin the live comment section up as well. Remember, if you haven't done this already, we're sponsored today by the brilliant people at Private Internet Access. And if you're not using a VPN and you're on the internet, you are risking your data big time, my friends. So go and get that done. Some guy was actually on the show earlier. He's like, why can't I super chat from the country that I'm in? If you have a VPN provider, you can. Just saying. So there we go. Let's have a little look here. No people. Oh, look. 5 foot nothing. 5 foot nothing he is now. I like that. 5 foot nothing's pretty good. Where are people getting 5'7" from? Oh, they're bantering, bro. It's just banter. It's not real. It's not serious. It's just a little bit of banter. That's all it is, my guy. Relax. Relax, my friend. It ain't serious. Nobody means it. Right, let's do some more of your comments here. There's a super chat that's just come in. That says he'd be crap if we wasn't so good at passing. That's what yeah. I mean, statistically speaking, he's a better defender than Gabriel. Intercepts more, better success on ground drills, better success in terms of tackling ratios, more interceptions per game, gets dribbled past less. better distributor. The only thing Gabriel has on him is he wins more aerial duels on a percentage basis. But he's a better defender, statistically speaking, and he's definitely a better footballer. Man United signed a brilliant player. And I said it before, Gabriel is brilliant, and Arsenal fans love him, and that's great. But trust me, he would have pushed Gabriel out of the centre-back role at Arsenal as well. I think he's that good a football player, that good a defender. Stand by it. And the proof will be in the pudding. Frankie de Jong won't take a pay cut to join Man United for 575k per week. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think Man United will do that either, by the way. I don't think Man United will raise the salary to cover what Barcelona owe him. I don't. So Man United will walk away. If Frankie de Jong says, I'll come and play for you, but you've got to increase the terms, United will reject him and walk away. That's what will happen. We'll get de Jong. There's absolutely no way Erik ten Hag stays in this long without assurances from de Jong himself. Viva Lissandro, eat it, Gooners, is what Rob has got to say. I don't believe United will go for the deal if Frankie de Jong doesn't want to come. True, but there is still one word. Sorry, there is one word that makes me think otherwise. It's United. I hear you on that. Great comment. Is Man United overpaying? Maybe, but Arsenal were also in for him, so he was always going to be sold for more than he is worth. Arsenal window now looks okay-ish. I think Arsenal's window looks okay-ish right now, but they will go for other targets, I think. You know, I think that's what people have got to bear in mind. Arsenal haven't finished shopping. This isn't the end of the transfer window for Arsenal. They will come back and buy more players. They will come back and land 2 or 3 more signings. I mean, they simply have to. The money's there. Arsenal can't walk away now after bidding for this Martinez at 40. So say for instance, I'm wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong, that Grimaldo is instead of Lissandro. They're saving, what, 30 million on him. So that's 30 million they've got. They've got the money for Rafinha. What they bid for him, 60. Maybe, say, left 50. They've bid 50 for Rafinha, and there's 30 savings in this deal. That's 80 million they've got. Plus, they said they've still got the money for Yuri, which is about 35 million. So they've still got there 110, 120 million pounds gross to spend. So there's no way Arsenal are finishing this window with no more signings. I can't imagine a world where they do that to their football, where they do that to their fans. I just cannot imagine a world where they do that. You know, they just can't. I can't see it happening myself. I refuse to believe that Arsenal would ever do that to their fans. I can't imagine it myself personally. But maybe that's just me. Maybe you guys think a little bit differently here. Equally, I don't think they pulled out of the Lissandro deal because it was too much money. I believe they pulled out of the Lissandro deal because Man United were winning the race. But then I said the same thing about I said the same thing with Man United and Darwin Núñez. Balesi, Pirlo, Carvalho, similar height to Martinez. Damn, I'd sign Kevin Hart or Richard Hammond to replace Maguire. Listen, people are focusing on the height. Chelsea fans ain't bantering the height because they wanted Jules Koundé, who's also a similar height and profile. Certain fans of certain clubs will twist everything a rival club does into a bitterness. You just got to learn to take it on the chin. It is what it is. The more they slag them off, the better. Because if you slag them off, if they foul, then there's no banter. And if people attacking a player at the early stages is the best way around of doing it. It's win-win for it. If Chelsea sign, people slagging off Chelsea for signing Koulibaly. It's win-win. Because if he's bad, no one can banter you because they said he was going to be bad. And if he's brilliant, you can banter them because they were wrong. Fans have got this all wrong. I think some people don't learn to banter at school. This should become a lesson, how to banter properly. You don't banter by attacking in the first instant. That's like low-hanging fruit banter. It's too easy. Play the long game. It's more fun. But there we go. Terry, I'm telling you now, Arteta will be sacked before the season ends because this past season is the best he can achieve, and they bottled it, is what Trevor, one of our members here, believes. Chelsea doing bits. Chelsea are doing bits, mate. Chelsea are on fire right now, and they've got more to come. Trust me, a lot more to come. Every time Arsenal go into a transfer window, it's like they've never seen one before, is what Nathan has got to say here. Look, I think Arsenal have done well so far. I don't even want to banter them because there's nothing to really banter Arsenal about. Where the criticism will come in is if they don't spend this money that they saved not getting Rafinha, the money they saved not buying Tielemans, the money they've saved not getting Lissandro. That's where the problem lies. What it will probably be spun into if they don't spend it, though, is, but our main targets weren't available, so we're saving the money for another window. That will probably be the way it's spun if they don't spend it. But Gooners, what do you think and Phil? Now, remember, people, we're talking the main story today. Lisandro Martinez is a Manchester United player. The deal is agreed for anybody just tuning in. He is red. Personal terms have been agreed upon for some time now. He'll be officially a Manchester United player in the near future. Of course, United fans want to see the announcement. They want to see the club talk about it. They want to see the shirt being held in the fanfare. That will come in due course. But he is a Manchester United player. Arsenal pulled away. Total agreement between the clubs has been finalized. The player has already agreed personal terms. He is a red. I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. I want to know what's going through your mind. Tier 1 Terry. Thanks, mate. It's not true. It's just a bit of banter. Someone said to me the other day, do you actually think you're really a tier 1? And I laughed so hard. Do you know that my biggest fear for society is that we're losing our ability to understand sarcasm and see satire. I must say on every channel, no one on a fan channel is a tier 1 journalist. Like, as in none. None. We read the news or we talk to journalists and we share it with you. And someone said to me the other day, but your news stories sometimes contradict themselves. Well, how do they? Because, well, one minute you share a story from a journalist saying that a deal was close. The next minute you share a story saying someone else is hijacking it. I'm like, well, yeah, I share their stories and then we debate it. Like, most of you get it. Some people banter, and I get that. A lot of you in the comments do. But some people are literally confused about what fan channels are. It's so weird to me. I don't even like being rude to them now. I'm just like, bless the little sausage. Bless the little sausage. Yeah, listen, you're right. People can't differentiate between banter, satire, and reality. It's gone. It's absolutely gone. Top 6 show, please. Need a gals at Chelsea in the gutter. Listen, gal. I don't know where the gal's at. Top 6 is tomorrow, people. That show will be live. Don't you worry about that. Arsenal ain't getting top 6, not with 2 games a week, is what John believes. Do you guys think that Man United have Man United done enough, like, with a good midfielder being added, right? I want to ask this question. Lissandro, Eriksen, Malacia. If another midfielder comes in, let's just say it's De Jong, let's say it's Neves, let's say it's Tielemans, just one of those 3. With the system that United are trying to play, how much more do United need to make the top 4, in your opinion, position-wise, and what are their names? I'd love you to put that in the comment section. I want to hear from you on that as well. Man United are going to end up 5th this season. I mean, that's not what I want, but as long as we've improved, I think I'd take it. Like, I really do think I would take it. Like, legitimately, I would take it. Yeah, I'd take it. I'd take it, Mohammed, my old mate. I really would. Oh, my God, Igal, he belongs in the corner wearing a dunce hat. Well, what's he done now? About his Chelsea comments. Yeah, crazy. Yes, great signing. And soon we announce De Jong as well. Listen, I hope that happens. But look, my point is about this is Man United have not done badly. You know, Malacia, Eriksen, Martinez, all secured in the first 8 weeks of Erik ten Hag's reign. You know, with 2 or 3 more players expected. It's pretty sensational for a club in crisis, with a chaotic dressing room, with no direction, and that have been, quote unquote, consistently rejected all summer. It's not bad. It's not a bad window, you know? It's not a bad window. I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it. Speaking of Eriksen, it is taking a while longer than expected. I know extra due to the due diligence to cardiac arrest, but seems quiet. Well, if you go back to the day that it was announced, just over a week ago, there was an expectation that he would meet his teammates after the team had been in Melbourne, We haven't even played the game in Melbourne yet. That's 2 days away. So people have kind of forgot that element of the report and they're getting panicky because of other deals. Everything's kind of on track. He was still on a holiday. He's had to undergo his medical, which has been done in stages. And then he's going to go and meet up with his teammates. Like nothing right now is protruded beyond where it was kind of expected to be at this stage, as far as I'm aware, unless I've missed an update that said that he was meant to be there in Bangkok. I always thought it was going to be Melbourne or beyond that he was going to join up with his teammates. Anyway, that was always my thought and my feeling on it. Is Martinez better than Harry Maguire? I think, listen, a lot of people have said you can't. The irony in it is this. People are like, you can't say he's better than any Premier League defender because he hasn't played in the Premier League yet. And there's logic to that thought. You know, he hasn't played in the Prem, so he can't be a better Premier League defender than them. Will he be better than Maguire, though? Yes, I believe he will. I think he's superior in, other than height, he's superior in every other element of his game. From what I've watched, the clips I've seen, the games I've watched him playing, Wyscout, Wyscout's expensive. It costs like £600 a year to use. Why it's so impressive is every statistic you can imagine in football, you click on it, and every single piece of footage over the last 7 years connected to that statistic and that player is available for you to watch. So you can watch his ground duels, his defensive duels, his positional elements. And it just shows you clip after clip after clip after clip of him in those circumstances. So I probably sat there and watched 500-600 clips in the last week to 2 weeks of Lisandro Martinez and the positional sense he has, how he works in ground duels, and everything I've seen of him. You can watch you can literally break it down to this level of granular detail. His forward passes, his backward passes, his sideward passes. This is how well you can edit this piece of kit. You can go, you can select how he plays when he's on a yellow card versus when he's not on a yellow card. You can change the statistics when he's booked versus not booked, when his team's winning to us, when his team's losing. The first 15 minutes of a game, the middle 15, like the first, you can do the first 15 minutes, 15 to 30. You can break the game down. So you could look at a player and go, how good is he when his team's losing 1-0 and he's on a yellow card in the last 15 minutes of a game? You can break down the statistics to that level. And then within those statistics, you can watch the footage behind them. It is the most detailed breakdown you can get on the internet of any football player. That's what I've been using. So when I sit there and say, I think he's better than Maguire, I'm basing it on all of that research that I have done, not a YouTube compilation that tells you nothing, you know, because what you can do with Wyscout is you can actually download all the videos. So I could download all these mistakes and make a compilation and go, look, he looks rubbish. I could also download all the best bits, put a compilation together with the right music and go, look how great he is. But I'm looking at the body of work. And as I said, I probably spent maybe 30 hours looking at him and a couple of other players that I weren't too familiar with over the course of the last few weeks. And yeah, he is better than Maguire without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Excellent player. Terry Bailly to Napoli. Is that a rumor? I haven't seen that rumor. Is that going around now? I mean, I thought he looked really good yesterday, Eric Bailly. If he could stay fit, I'd love to see him play more for Man United, but he can't stay fit, can he? I'd love him to, though, because I actually like him. It makes me happy watching him play football. Just one of them people. Makes me happy. Do you think Martinez will be the same level as Vidic if you guys win a trophy? Oh, listen, I'm not putting... Nemanja Vidic is in the top 5 centre-backs in Premier League history. He's achieved things, you know, his Man United team has achieved things that no other team other than Manchester United have also achieved. To put his name, I would not put his name in the same breath as the legendary figure of Nemanja Vidic. But the level that Lisandro Martinez is and the rating around him and the familiarity people have with him, he's probably a little bit higher than Vidic's was when he came in. But Vidic took his game to a world-class level. So listen, I'm not putting that level of it. I want him to be that good because that's what you got to aim for, right? It's a bit like Wayne Rooney was the best striker we had in my sort of adolescent young, you know, my younger years, with the same age me and Rooney. But the person that replaced him really as the main talisman was Kane, and Kane is a better goal scorer than him. I want Kane in an England trip to be better than Rooney. The person that replaces Kane, I want to be better than Kane. You should always want your previous players to be matched or bettered. That way your team's always getting better. So, yeah, I hope so. But, yeah, I wouldn't say that he's at that point yet. I really, really wouldn't. I think that's far too far right now. Vidic is a dead baller. My God, we're calling Vidic dead. Oh, my days. These kids, Vidic, are sensational football player. Yeah, now listen, defenders of his era weren't as good as defenders now from playing out the back. That wasn't part of football. It's evolved, it's changed, it's different. That's why what you compare is their achievements era to era, not their overall ability. You know, goalkeepers like Petr Cech and Peter Schmeichel, in my opinion, couldn't cope in the modern day game. But that doesn't take away from their legendary status. You know, tennis, all sport. I bet you, if you're a big fan of rugby, that's gone through it. I bet if you watch the NFL, you know, generation versus generation is hard to compete with it. The NFL players now look much bigger than the NFL guys and more athletic than the guys of years gone by. Look at UFC fighters now compared to 20 years ago. Can't compare eras. You have to compare their achievements within those eras. But there we go. Vidic alongside Rio was one of the best alongside JT and Carvalho. Yeah, those two partnerships just... Honestly, I think those two partnerships are almost unmatched. I think they're number one and number two in the Premier League. I really do. Arsenal have got a say in that. Of course, with Adams and Keown, that was brilliant. Adam and Bold as well. You've obviously got Sol Campbell and Yaya's very... Not Yaya, Kolo is very, very good as well. So there's some decent ones. There's some decent ones there. Real decent ones. Gabriel Jesus is going to be the Gal of the Premier League. I don't know what you mean. Explain that, please. Explain that comment. I don't quite get it. Right, we're going to go to some of your calls now, my people. What are we looking at for likes on here now? What are we on? 743. What is that? Malaya, just under 900. So we basically 3,500 more likes and we'll gift out those memberships, people. Go and get that done, my G's. Go and get that done right now. Support the Terraces. Hang on a minute. I've just seen a gal. Chelsea's transfer window is looking like a big failure, to be honest. We love Bowley. Look at Igal. Igal is calling Chelsea's transfer window a failure. A failure. Igal. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Igal. Can you believe it? Igal, listen. Come on and answer for your crimes, Igal. Phone in, Igal, and have your say. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're feeling. I want to know. I can't believe I just read that. I can't believe what I just read. I can't believe what I just read, Igal. What are you doing? It's a disaster. Igal, please, my brother. Oh, no. That's him set up for the season now, isn't it? That's him set up for the season. That's him set up for the season now. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. An update on that poll, by the way, on Twitter. 5,400 votes. 25%. Oh, no, that's on a different one. That's about should Man United walk away from De Jong. 25% think they should keep pushing. The poll that's out now regarding Lisandro, 22% think that he's not worth the money. 78% think he is. The poll running here says, well, it's 20%. So 80% of you think that he is worth the money. That he's worth the money. Right, I'm going to go to calls now. First on the line to have his say, Man United fan here. Mo's on the line. Lisandro over the line. What are you saying, Mo?
How's it going, Terry? Is my line clear now today?
Perfect.
First and foremost, great deal for Man United with Lisandro. I'm looking for a good centre-back partnership with Varane. And I just want to say yesterday, we gave them a footballing lesson. We absolutely smashed them 4-0. Erik ten Hag's army has begun. The era has begun. Jurgen Klopp was sitting there, Terry. He was like, what do I do? I got no answers. What kind of football is this? And then the coach was like, I don't know. This is total football with Genghis press. And we got a trophy out of it, Terry. So it's been a good... we got a trophy. So, but you know what it is, Terry? Even though people are just laughing at the trophy, it's an ethos there of winning. It instilling the William. I know it's like I don't even know if it's a cup or not, but it's the fundamental philosophy of winning. It's about winning, and it starts from you got to start from the bottom, and winning any kind of trophy, to get them experience, to get a mindset. It's all about mindset, Terry, and he's getting them prepared. You know what? If we get Frankie De Jong, boy, I saw a couple of the youth players. I saw Charlie Savage, Zidane Iqbal, Terry. They're ahead of McTominay at this stage of their career. He's McTominay. I'm sorry, but McTominay yesterday, McTominay and Wan-Bissaka, nothing's changed, Terry. I don't think even Eric Ten Hag's gonna get tuned at them. They're just absolutely awful. But Jurgen Klopp got put in a spliff yesterday. He was sitting there. And he was bamboozled. He's like, what the heck? What kind of football is this? What is this guy doing? Who is this guy? What, he goes to the assistant. Have you not done your homework? Because we've never seen this kind of football before. Because this is Eric Ten Hag's football, and you guys gonna have absolutely love it, Terry. And we're getting Frankie De Jong. We're gonna get Frankie De Jong, and then and Ronaldo's coming back as well. Cristiano Ronaldo is back.
Mo is buzzing there, people. Mo's excited there.
It's a good win, man. It's a good win. You got to enjoy it.
Of course you got to enjoy it. Of course you got
the football yesterday, Terry. I saw what he's trying to do. The triangles, the one touch. My boy Jaden, Martial, Rashford, even Fred, Ahmad, Palestri. Brilliant.
Mate, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I have to listen. I'm not like I'm not going to be overly. I'm not going to get carried away. But I was smiling watching the game.
Yeah,
I was smiling watching it. And by the way, people calling you embarrassing. I know you're being flippant. You're having a bit of a laugh. You're having a bit of a joke. That's what we were saying earlier. People can't. I can hear the satire, the joke, the sarcasm in your voice. The fact people are taking you seriously. That's the banter. That's the funny bit. Like if you fall for the sarcasm, the banter's on you. I don't think people see it. Mo, great. Go on, mate.
I just can't wait to see this guy's football in the Premier League, man. I just want to see the football this guy plays. I love it, man. We're gonna have fun this season. We're gonna have fun.
I hope so. Mo, top man, for coming on and having your say. I appreciate it, mate. You look after yourself. Top man. Thank you. Igal, you are tripping, my friend. You Chelsea haters, delusional. The Chelsea is what Nick has got to say here. Yeah, Igal seems to have triggered quite a few people in the comment sections with his comments. Nah, Terry, he was being serious. Come on now. Come on. You guys know he's not being serious there. Next on the show, Abdul's here. What are you saying, Abdul?
Yo, Terry, congrats on the signings, bro.
Well, I'm happy with this one. We need more, but
yeah. It's your first proper signing, like proper signing, because let's be honest, Malacia, we don't know if he's gonna start yet, and Eriksen, we don't know like where he's really gonna play yet. But bro, like he's a good player, man. He's a good player. Of course, when you buy a player, you have to evaluate the risk of the player, and how proven are they? Because of course, the price has to match how proven they are. You feel me? Like the bigger the risk, the smaller the price. The smaller the risk, the bigger the price. That's how it usually works. And I think, bro, like the thing is, if Ten Hag wasn't signing these players, I think people could be more critical of them. But it's Ten Hag who's gonna manage them. The person who's literally gotten the best out of these players, that know these players in and out. So it's very tough to like criticize these signings because it's like Ten Hag knows them in and out. The manager is so familiar with them. And I think some people might find it like that they're taking the easy route out. But bro, like in the first summer, I mean, it can be a handy thing to do because the manager has to learn so many new players. Like he has to get to know so many new players that he's never coached before. And he's just come in like last month. So I think it's a good signing. Like it's like you can only judge him based off his stats because I don't think many of us watch him regularly. But even from the Ajax side, like they rate him very highly as well. So I think it's a positive signing, bro. The one thing I will say is that you are spending around 50 million pounds on him. So like, I don't know, like that's not too far off what Sevilla are demanding for Jules Koundé. So it makes me think like, could you have gotten Koundé? But I'm sure like the manager wants Martinez. I think he's desperate for Martinez. So again, like this is a good thing. You know why, Terry? Because it's one of these signings where it's clearly a manager signing. The manager clearly wants it. So if the player flops and fails, you can directly criticize the manager. Whereas like back in the days, you didn't really know if Oli was signing these players or the board was signing these players. So you never really knew who to criticize and who not to criticize and who's to blame for the player. Like with Donny van der Beek, we still don't know if Oli wanted him. You feel me? But yeah.
Yeah, listen, I kind of feel, listen, I totally get where you're coming from. And yes, it's a lot of money, £46 million. There's going to be pressure on him to deliver, but there's pressure on every Man United player to deliver. We spent £15 million on Dan James and still got ripped into for it being a bad signing. It doesn't matter when you're Man United. Everything we do is scrutinized. These players will understand that. The manager knows this. I'm confident in all the research I've done, I'm confident that he could work for us. However, it's about continuity. And we've had a number of players that have started off well and then dwindled away like every manager before them. You know, even Eric Bailly, first season, Eric Bailly at Man United, there was a lot of hope and a lot of feeling that as he got a bit older, as he settled, he'd go on to be a top level defender. Didn't work out. There's a lot of hope year one for Lindelof. Didn't do badly, faded. Even Maguire and AWB as defenders at this club. Year one, most people were like, pretty good. It was after that, it slowly got worse. And I think for me, even if he starts off well, I'll still remain reserved because I'll say good things about them and I'll praise them, but I want to see what happens beyond the first 12 months, beyond the first 18 months. And that's when you'll really know whether there's been progression. But look, on paper, very good signing indeed.
He offers so much on the ball. And I think for Terry, for Ten Hag, he's desperate. Like every play has to start from the back. It just has to start from the back. He doesn't do long balls, Terry. He doesn't do long balls. So he needs to have centre backs who can start the play. And honestly, bro, I think Martinez, he's up there as one of the best in the world, honestly, at doing what Ten Hag wants. And in regards to the De Jong thing, because I saw you mentioned it at the start of the show as well, like, I don't think you were sure whether Barca which consequence it would have on him if he stayed but didn't take a wage cut, Terry. All I'll tell you is there is no way he's sitting on the bench. Terry, there is no way. There is no way that's not happening.
I understand that. It's not whether he plays or not per se. It's the feeling, the emotion, the way the club will treat him. I'm not asked which of the two the answer it is. My point would be this. If I'm sitting in a room and I'm talking to someone, if I'm a journalist and I've got access to Laporta and he's going, the player's going to stay, he's not going to take a wage cut. My question is, how do you feel about that? What's the reaction going to be? Even if they're capping and they just say that a PR answer, that's the next part of this story. That's the next question. That's the follow-up question now to see what kind of happens. But it's an interesting one because there's still...
because, just before I move on, like on the Dembele thing, they tried to bend, like, he didn't want to sign a cut. He didn't want to get sold in January. So they tried to use the hardball tactic and say, you know what, you're not playing. After like 2 weeks, we needed it, and he started playing, and he was our best player. So I understand like the whole mood. How is it gonna be? How is he? Because let's be honest, Terry, especially Spanish clubs, they know how to feed the press in a way to turn the fans against you. But I think.
Yeah, and that's what I want to know from Barca fans or Barca-based journalists. What will because again, if there's a feeling that there'll be a witch hunt for him, he could still leave. If the feeling is he'll be left alone, he'll be loved and respected by everybody, irrespective of his decision, it changes how I feel about the situation. Does that make sense? Like that's all I'm asking for. And right now, people just keep saying he doesn't want to leave. And he isn't going to take a pay cut. So my answer is, so what no one's saying is what the ramification of that is. No journalists, even the tier ones, they're not telling us that and then saying, so that means he stays, or Barca are going to try even harder to push him out. They're not giving us an answer to what Frankie wants. And we know that. Do you get where I'm coming from? That's why
I kind of get where you're coming from, but I don't really get what kind of an answer you're looking for though, because it's clear what it will have. The ramification will be on the transfer window. We won't be able to sign the players we want to sign because...
Yes, that's it. But then what is the knock-on effect for Frankie in that? Will there be a feeling of annoyance and frustration? Will he be ostracized? Will the ball turn against him? Or will they just say, you know what, Frankie, we love you. We want you part of this club.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but great. I want to know what the ramifications are, because that ramification is will change how I feel about the situation. Like, that's important, because if the player knows if he refuses to take a pay cut, he's going to be witch hunted out of there. Like, fans banging on his car every time he drives out. It might change things, but that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, Terry.
My
The one thing
guy, go on.
no, the one thing I'll say is he is a fan favorite, bro. Like, he is a fan favorite, so I can't really see a witch hunt of that. Because, bro, let's be honest, Terry, he did take a wage cut during COVID as well. So, like, a lot of the fans sympathize with him because we see where he's coming from.
Yeah, and I totally get that. And like I'm just saying, I'm just one of these people that likes clarity. So when someone says he isn't going to leave and he isn't going to take a pay cut, I'm like, well, what does that mean then? Explain it fully. It's one of those things that, I just want to understand it, because it's still the same news as a week ago. We knew he weren't taking a pay cut a week ago. We knew he didn't want to 100% leave. A better question for you. As he told Man United point blank, no matter what happens, he ain't joining them.
Terry, that's the confusing thing, Terry, because there is no way you would be pursuing him if he did that.
Exactly. So, but that's my point. My point is, everybody overreacts to all of the news. I'm not overreacting to Auriel Demonic. I can't remember his surname. Dominique. I'm not overreacting to him saying he thinks the player will leave. Equally, I'm not overreacting to Fabrizio's update today, because we haven't learned anything new. There's been people all summer thinking he's leaving. There's been people all summer saying that he doesn't want to leave. We're not really being given the answers, and that's why I'm asking for more. But listen, great call, my friend. Appreciate you coming on having your say. Thank you. Yeah, I just want more clarity on it. Or just, it's not even clarity. I'm going to rephrase this. Sometimes I want some of these journalists to stop telling us what they're being told, and then I want them to add their opinion. What do you think will happen, though? Do you think it's right? Do you think it's wrong? Give us some insight. Because an informed person's opinion is worth more than a speculative person's opinion. We all speculate because we read their news. They're in the room with these people. They know the tone of voice. They know the feeling. Give us your opinion, not just the player's done these two things. Okay? What's the next bit? Because that's not the story. That's just what I want. But there we go. Do me a favor and smash that like button, people. We're closing in on the free memberships. We need 200 more likes, and those free memberships are on their way to you. Next on the show, Alex is going to come in a minute. Young Tommy's going to come on the show, but Samuel's here, Arsenal fan. They wanted Lisandro Martinez. They've missed out on him to Manchester United. What are you saying, Samuel?
Terry, I'm looking at the potential fee right now of 42 million pounds for him to Man United, and the reason we were signing Lisandro Martinez was to be a backup left back and compete with Tini, and even be a backup left back to Gabriel. But I think that sort of transfer fee right now, I don't really see us paying that fee, because I think there's other players in the market that we could strengthen, and that big sum of money could go to a potential winger. Even like you said, Paqueta. I don't know. Maybe you could tell me something about Paqueta, Terry, if there's anything on that, if it's true or not. Yuri Tielemans and potentially Alejandro Grimaldo from Benfica, which has been linked. I think. Listen, one thing I've been seeing rivals say about Lisandro Martinez is height. But I think I'll tell you something about Argentinian centre backs. There's been short Argentinian centre backs like Mascherano and I think Ayala. He played for Valencia in the early 2000s. I think those are two sensational centre backs who weren't really. They were around the same height as Lionel Messi, I think, with Ayala being 5'10", and they were still two world-class centre backs. So I don't think height really matters. I think it is an outdated opinion on centre backs. Thinking about height in the Premier League, it's about the ability with their feet. Because like you mentioned earlier about centre backs back in the day, like your Adams, like your Fernandes, they wouldn't really be what they were in this type of game. Because football has evolved since then. Football is a constantly changing game. Every 2 years, football changes. A manager innovates a new idea. So, as of right now, Ten Hag is an innovative manager. He plays this new style of football, which is playing out the back, which is being good in the feet. And that's why I tell you, as a Man United fan, I have no clue why you're still keeping David De Gea. I know it's about Martinez, but I'm going to switch it up to De Gea because I'm going to run a De Gea agenda. Why is David De Gea still there when he is so inept at playing his feet? There's so many other goalkeepers who are good with their feet.
So you, again, it's a fair question, but your timing's off. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, of course.
we were never going to get. There are loads of players that either need to improve individually or be sold, and better players brought into the club. But let me ask you this question: you know your squad as you go into the start of this season. How many years has Arteta been here?
About 2.5.
And how many players out of your main 13, 14 players that will start games next season? How many were here when Arteta took over?
Oof. 2 at least, 2 or 3.
It's taken him, what, 3 or 4? Well, if you look at all the windows, how many windows? Yeah, 6, 7 windows, 6, 7 transfer windows. And he's finally good, hopefully going to have his own team now. Yeah. The expectation should be no different for Manchester United. We were never going to get rid of everybody that's deemed substandard this summer and go out and buy 15, 16, 17, 18 new players. People like De Gea, Luke Shaw, Rashford, Bruno, Donny, as examples, you can get probably for a year to 2 years a tune out of them with a brilliant coach. Just like Jurgen Klopp did when he inherited that Liverpool team. He was getting them to play very good football almost straight away. They got to a cup final year 1, but he just slowly sort of chipped away at the old players and brought in his new individuals. That's why, like, to answer your question, it's a fair challenge, but we would never get rid of that. You don't want to add a goalkeeper replacement issue to the same summer as trying to restock the midfield, improve the defensive areas, and now also maybe having to improve the attacking areas with Ronaldo leaving. Of course, another spanner in the works was Mason Greenwood, of course.
I don't, in the Man United fan base, I don't think I've seen a player more divisive than De Gea, because you have one side who were pro Henderson, and there's other side, who want De Gea out, but there's the ones that you've had arguments with these type of people, with the trophy merchants and the Jose lovers, who absolutely adore De Gea because he won the Premier League 10 years ago, which I think is so ridiculous to have De Gea there. You know who I'm talking about, Terry?
Well, the one thing with David De Gea is this, though. When it comes to the Premier League, he's still one of the best goalkeepers around. Is he as good with his feet as you would want him to be? No. But again, it's one game. I'm not going to judge anybody after one game. But we all saw improvements in him yesterday. Why? Because the coaching drills and the training is a little bit different. I think for a year or two, you can get a tune out of him. But what he gives you is generally speaking, a very stable and top-level goal scorer, one of the best shot stoppers Man United have ever had in your goal, and that's important. If we had a brilliant defense already, a world-class midfield, and a decent attack, we probably would have gone to replace him straight away. But there were I think there's other glaring issues with this squad that need to be addressed first. It's not deep. It's just the reality of the matter.
Listen, I think I get what you mean by that. I think right now it's not a top. It is a concern, but as of right now, you can focus on that in the future. As of right now, there's bigger gaping holes in the Man United squad, and I think it's interesting to see where Ten Hag goes with this. Personally, I think the defense was the main issue, because conceding 54 goals for Manchester United is unacceptable compared to 3 years ago when you conceded 28 goals in the Premier League season. So I think that is the main priority for Ten Hag. And I just want to go straight over to Sterling, right? I think this is a very big test for Raheem Sterling, because many people have criticized Sterling. I think Sterling was one of the most underrated players in Premier League history. I don't know why Man City fans think he's not a legend. He is a clear Man City legend, because I'm going to pull this stat up. I think you mentioned it in the show, I'm not sure. But only 2 players on the Pep Guardiola system have scored more than Raheem Sterling. That number 2 is Sergio Aguero. Number 1 is Lionel Messi. I mean, that shows speaks volumes of how good Raheem Sterling is. But there is critics, of course, who saying the reason Raheem Sterling was so good for all these years at Manchester City is because of the Pep system, what Pep did. So there is a lot of doubters, and I think the Chelsea move is the absolutely right move. And now, I mean, I know Chelsea. Is there another winger Chelsea are looking at? Because I know they were in for Rafinha. They were also in for Dembele, but both of them have somehow gone into Barcelona. I don't know how they pulled this off. Maybe there is something fishy going on there that the Barcelona is doing to get those 2 players. But I'm looking at now Serge Gnabry. I mean, is he a backup option? But really, I mean,
this thing about a player being a system player, you could theoretically label it at anyone. Arteta has a system, right?
Yeah.
Saka's not a good player. He's a system merchant. He's only good because of the system.
Mm.
You can do.
People think
The problem is that people. It's a very good challenge to a player not being that good, because it's hard to it's hard to debunk. The problem is people are now using it regularly for lots of players. And the more you use it, the more you dilute it as an argument, because Salah's a system merchant, Trent's a system merchant. I've seen people say the same thing about Raheem Sterling's a system merchant, but we know Raheem Sterling isn't, because for the past 2 years, as an example, he's been England's best player with completely different teammates, with a completely different style and a completely different manager. The fact he's done it internationally, and he, for one of the best players at the Euros last year, to be good in 2 separate teams, for me shows that he's not a system player. To be the best player in the Euros, one of England's best players consistently for 2, 3, 4 years now, and to be doing it regularly for a Pep Guardiola team, is because he's a top-class football player. And I believe he'll do brilliantly at Chelsea. I really, really do.
Can I make one more statement about just the last statement, Monique? I'd believe that if Roman Abramovich was still owner of Chelsea, I don't think Chelsea will be getting these players, because mainly these players are Bowley is listening to what Thomas Tuchel wants, while mainly the Abramovich approach was mainly for the big name signings like Lukaku. I don't think Tuchel really wanted Lukaku. I think he wanted Haaland last season, and I think his hand was forced into Lukaku. But it's really good what Bowley's doing at Chelsea. And as a rival, I'm a little bit jealous because everyone expected Chelsea to be in the mud, but Bowley has gone after bringing back Nathan Ake. Koulibaly now the deal is agreed and is having a medical, and Raheem Sterling. So Chelsea are filling in the gaping holes. They're upgrading the players from last season with Marcos Alonso, Azpilicueta. Ake and Koulibaly are definite upgrades, but it's a 1 month until the Premier League season starts, and it's interesting to see how all of the big six do, because all of them are drastically improving and moving in the right direction. There's no one bar Liverpool. I think Liverpool is the only side that's moving backwards, but everyone else is moving forwards. That's the only thing I don't make.
Samuel, great call, my friend. Thanks for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Take care, my guy. Smoker Settings here says Arsenal were on a bender. Martin. Oh, okay. Sorry. I wasn't ready for what I was going to say there. There we go. Redneck Alex is on. Chelsea fan. What you saying now?
Big up, Terry. Long time. Didn't speak to you. Yeah, long time.
What you here to say?
Well, I would like to answer Igal first for his comments. Previously, I was here when he said it. We're not shopping in the same pod. We're not shopping in the same stores. We're shopping in the different areas. You shop where you shop, and we shop where we shop. If you think that what's his name is the overrated defender, that's just shame on you, man. That's just shame on you. By the way, Koulibaly is one of my targets that I actually wanted for a couple of years. For me, he was the prime example that actually how is the defender supposed to be, and he will fit right in. I will give him maybe a couple of games to get to the Premier League, of course, because it's a different kinds of step. But Sterling, I'm excited, but I'm not overly excited because Chelsea needs to find the solution to create all those chances for Sterling. We create chances, but we need a little bit more to the level, to the amount for Sterling to be. He's a great at just going direct against the directness of him. It's what I like about him. I like when player goes directly against the opposition. That's what I want from him, and it's a good signing. And to answer your comment earlier, that like you asked about, is it enough 47 million for Man United target? Since when did 40 million became too expensive for the clubs to buy a player? when did I miss something? Because I thought when you pay 70 or 80. That's a lot. I understand that's a lot. But when did 40 became too much? If we're getting Sterling for 40 to 45, how much did City pay for him? They paid 50, if I remember correctly. Plus,
a long time
we're getting him in prime age.
Yeah, listen, I think that it's been weird this year because anything between sort of 20 and 45, 50 million in the last 3 to 4 years hasn't been considered big. It's been 50 millions plus. This year, people are trying to rewrite that. Too much money for Koulibaly, too much money for Lissandro, too much money for Raheem Sterling. And I'm like, I don't know. Liverpool just signed a very good striker, though, for 70, 80 odd million pounds.
Exactly.
Raheem Sterling right now is better than Darwin Núñez. Different position, but better. And he's almost half the price. I don't really understand the issue people have. But look, that's just people for you, I think, my
Didn't
friend.
Arsenal pay for Ben White 50? Didn't like the numbers are the craziness about it. Like when you're saying it 50 and it's like cheap. Oh, we got Ben White. It's on cheap. He's young talent. Blah blah blah. And you get Sterling, the guy who won pretty much everything in England, and you're saying that he's overrated. I agree. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but he still improves Chelsea's forward.
Of course he does. As you say, it's people just fishing, really. As you say, like Ben White cost 50 million, and at the time I said I think he was worth it. I think he's very, very good. He's the same age as Lisandro Martinez, who's costing less than that. But suddenly Lisandro Martinez is an overpriced, overrated. You know, he's an Argentinian international, Champions League proven. Somebody from the academy, somebody from the Ajax team, and I'm not going to overly hype the Eredivisie. We know it isn't the strongest league in Europe, but he's translated his ability elsewhere. Listen, Alex, I really appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you very much indeed, my bro.
Quick one. You said that who's United is going to be finishing in top 4. I think people always asking the wrong question. It's not about the teams that can get to top 4. Who you think is going to make worse in the season from those top 4 teams? Liverpool or Manchester City? Who can drop the positions? City bought the player that they usually don't play with, and the guy is completely different striker than what what's his name likes to play. Same as Klopp. He bought himself a striker that doesn't use to the system they used to play. If those two drop points, Chelsea can improve on that and get the first spot, or even Tottenham. Man United can slip in. This is the way you have to look at it.
I hear you, my friend. Alex, top man, great call, good opinion. Speak to you soon. Cheers, my guy. Thank you. There's a comment here I wanted to read that says football without system from manager, football team will not function. Stop with this system, merchant Terry. Does you learn football? I wasn't calling anyone a system merchant. I agreed with you. I agree. Players make the systems work. Otherwise, Pep and Klopp wouldn't have had to have spent hundreds of millions of pounds on players to achieve what they've achieved. Like the two things are needed at the same time. I know there's still loads of you backstage. I don't have any more time to take any more calls today. I'm very, very sorry indeed. What I need you guys to do before... Hang on, did we hit the likes, man? Did we hit the likes? We haven't hit the likes, people. We haven't hit the likes. So, unfortunately, no memberships today. You've got to get it done early. You always leave it to the end. You need to get it done early so that we do it. I appreciate you all tuning in and having your say. Back later with more content for you. I really appreciate all the support you guys have given the Terrace. I really, really do. But until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless.